I want to ask you a question and I want an honest answer from you.
Okay, sir.
Who hurt you?
The coffee was cold before she even brought it to table 7, but the man didn't complain. He never did. He'd been coming in every Thursday for 3 months, always at 11:30, always alone, always ordering the same thing, black coffee and whatever pie was left from yesterday. He sat in the corner booth with his back to the wall, and he watched. She'd noticed him the first week. You noticed men like that, not because they were loud or demanding, but because they took up space differently. He wore expensive suits that didn't belong in a place like Maggie's Diner, where the vinyl booths were patched with duct tape and the fluorescent lights hummed like dying wasps. His hands were clean but scarred across the knuckles. He didn't check his phone. He didn't read. He just sat there, watching the room like he was memorizing exits. Her name was Claire, and she was good at being invisible. She'd been working at Maggie's for 2 years, ever since she'd left Chicago with nothing but a backpack and a restraining order that wasn't worth the paper it was printed on. The diner was perfect because nobody asked questions. The owner, Maggie, was 70 and mostly deaf. The cook, Louis, was undocumented and grateful for the work. The customers were truckers, insomniacs, and people like her who needed a place to disappear. The man in table 7 didn't fit, but he tipped well. $40 every Thursday, left folded under the saucer like it was nothing. So she brought him his coffee and his pie, and she didn't ask why a man who could afford Armani ate reheated cherry pie in a diner that smelled like grease and old dreams. Today was different. Today he'd called ahead. Maggie had shuffled into the kitchen that morning, waving a piece of paper like it was a winning lottery ticket. "Some investor wants to buy the place," she'd said, her voice crackling like the deep fryer. "Offered 3 times what it's worth. Says he wants to keep it running, keep the staff, just wants to own it." Claire had felt something cold settle in her stomach. Did he leave a name? Some Korean fella. I think Kang Ji-hoon. The man at table 7. She'd looked across the diner and he'd been watching her. Not starring. Watching, like he already knew what she was thinking. Maggie had signed the papers that afternoon. By the time the dinner rush started, Kang Ji-hoon owned Maggie's Diner. He still sat in the corner booth. He still ordered the same thing. But now, when Claire brought him his coffee, he looked at her differently. "Sit down," he said. It wasn't a question. His voice was quiet, barely louder than the hum of the lights, but it carried weight. She glanced around. The diner was empty except for a trucker at the counter and Louis in the back. Maggie had gone home early, celebrating her windfall with a bottle of whiskey. "I'm working," she said. "You work for me now." He gestured to the seat across from him. "Sit." She sat. Her hands were shaking, so she tucked them under the table. He noticed. He noticed everything. "You're careful," he said. "You don't park in the same spot twice. You never take the same route home. You check the locks 3 times before you sleep." Her heart was pounding. "Are you following me?" "I don't need to follow you. I can see it." He leaned forward just slightly, and the air between them thickened. "Someone taught you to be afraid." She didn't answer. She couldn't. "I've been coming here for 3 months," he continued. "I watched you lie to the trucker who asked for your number. I watched you flinch when the door slammed during the storm. I watched you count your tips twice before you put them in your pocket, like you're afraid someone will take them." "Why?" Her voice came out smaller than she wanted. "Why are you watching me?" He didn't blink. "Because I wanted to know if I was right." "About what?" "About who hurt you." The question hit her like a fist. She stood up too fast, the chair scraping against the linoleum. "I don't know what you think this is, but—" "Sit down, Claire." She froze. He'd never used her name before. "I'm not going to hurt you," he said. His voice was still quiet, still calm. "But someone else will, and I need you to tell me who." "You're insane." "Maybe," he tilted his head, considering her. "But I just bought this diner so I could ask you one question without you running. So sit down, answer me, and then you can decide if I'm insane." She sat, because something in his voice made her believe him, or maybe because she was too tired to keep running. "There's no one," she said. "Liar. You don't know me. I know you're afraid to go home before sunrise. I know you work doubles so you don't have to be alone. I know you sleep in your car twice a week because you think someone's watching your apartment." He paused. "And I know that when you think no one's looking, you check your phone like you're waiting for bad news." She stared at him. "Who the hell are you?" "Someone who fixes problems." He leaned back, his hands flat on the table. "Tell me his name." "No." "Claire, you think buying this place gives you the right to interrogate me. You think throwing money around makes you." "I think," he interrupted, "that you're about 2 weeks away from being found in a ditch, and I think you know it." The diner was silent except for the hum of the freezer and the low murmur of the television above the counter. Claire's throat was tight. She wanted to scream at him. She wanted to run, but she couldn't move. "His name is Derek," she said finally. "Derek Hale, he's my ex-husband." Kang Ji-hoon didn't react. He just watched her. "I left him 2 years ago," she continued. "Got a restraining order, changed my name, moved here. He's not supposed to know where I am." "But he does." She nodded. "He called me last week from a blocked number. He said he missed me. He said he wanted to talk. And I hung up, blocked the number. But he called again, different number. He said he knew where I worked." Kang's expression didn't change, but something shifted in the air. It felt colder, sharper. "Why didn't you call the police?" "Because they didn't help the first time." Her voice cracked. "They took a report, told me to be careful. Derek's a cop, was a cop. Chicago PD. He knows how to work the system." "Is he still in Chicago?" "I don't know," he didn't say, "but he knows I'm here. He knows about the diner." Kang nodded slowly. "When did he call last?" 3 days ago." "What did he say?" She closed her eyes. "He said he was coming to get me. He said I belonged to him. He said if I tried to run again, he'd make sure I regretted it." When she opened her eyes, Kang was still watching her. But there was something different in his gaze now, something that made her feel less like prey. "You don't have to be afraid anymore," he said. "You can't stop him." "Yes, I can." "You don't understand. Derek is." "I don't care what he is." Kang's voice was still quiet, but it cut through the noise like a blade. "He's not going to touch you." "You don't even know me." "I know enough." He stood, buttoning his jacket with slow, deliberate movements. "Go home, lock your doors. Don't answer calls from numbers you don't recognize. I'll take care of the rest." "What does that mean?" He looked at her for a long moment. "It means you're under my protection now, whether you asked for it or not." And then he walked out of the diner, leaving her sitting in the booth with a cup of cold coffee and 100 unanswered questions. She didn't sleep that night. She lay in her apartment with the lights on and the door triple locked, listening to every creak and footstep in the hallway. Her phone buzzed twice. Both times, it was an unknown number. Both times, she let it go to voicemail. The first message was Derek's voice, low and familiar and venomous. "You can't hide forever. Claire, I'm already here." The second message was silence, just breathing, and then a click. She thought about calling the police. But what would she say? That a stranger bought the diner where she worked and promised to protect her from her ex-husband. That she was getting threatening calls, but no one had actually done anything yet. Instead, she got dressed, grabbed her pepper spray, and went to work. The diner was quiet when she arrived. Maggie was at the counter, counting register slips. Louis was prepping in the back, and Kang Ji-hoon was sitting in his usual booth, drinking coffee. He looked up when she walked in. "You got the messages." It wasn't a question. "How do you know?" "Because you're here early, you're carrying pepper spray, and you look like you haven't slept." He gestured to the seat across from him. "Sit." This time, she didn't argue. "I told you to stay home," he said. "I need the money." "You need to stay alive." He set down his coffee. "Derek Hale arrived in town yesterday. He's staying at the Motel 6 off Route 9. He's been watching your apartment." Her blood ran cold. "How do you know that?" "Because I had someone watch him." Kang's tone was matter-of-fact. "He's not very good at hiding. He parked across from your building at 2 a.m. left at sunrise. He'll be back tonight." "Oh, God." She pressed her hands to her face. I need to leave, I need to. You need to breathe. Kang's voice was calm, steady. He's not going to touch you. You keep saying that, but you can't. I can, and I will. He leaned forward. But I need you to trust me. I don't even know you. You know I bought this diner so I could protect you. You know I've been watching Derek since the moment he crossed the state line. You know I'm the only person who's ever asked you who hurt you. He paused. That's enough. She wanted to argue. She wanted to tell him he was crazy, that this was insane, that she didn't need a stranger playing vigilante. But when she looked at him, really looked at him, she saw something that made her stop. He wasn't lying. He wasn't exaggerating. He was completely, utterly serious. What are you going to do? She asked. I'm going to make him leave. He won't, he's obsessed. He's a coward. Kang's voice was cold now. Cowards only hurt people they think are weaker than them. Once he realizes you're not alone, he'll run. And if he doesn't? Kang's eyes didn't waver. Then I'll make sure he can't hurt anyone ever again. The weight of those words settled over her like a shroud. She should have been terrified. She should have run. But instead, she felt something she hadn't felt in 2 years. Safe. Why are you doing this? She asked. He didn't answer right away. He just looked at her, and for the first time, she saw something human beneath the calm exterior. Because I know what it's like to be afraid, he said finally, and I know what it's like when no one helps. Before she could respond, the door to the diner opened. A man walked in, tall, broad-shouldered, sandy hair, cold blue eyes, a smile that didn't reach past his teeth. Derek. Claire's breath caught. She started to stand, but Kang's hand shot across the table, his fingers wrapping around her wrist. Not hard, just firm. Stay, he said quietly. Derek's eyes locked on her. Hey, baby, miss me. Kang didn't move, didn't even look at Derek. The diner's closed. Derek laughed. Closed, it's 10 in the morning. For you, it's closed. Now Derek looked at Kang, really looked at him, and for just a second something flickered in his expression. Confusion, maybe a hint of unease. Who the hell are you? The owner. Kang released Claire's wrist and stood, slow and deliberate. He wasn't as tall as Derek, but he carried himself differently, like the space around him bent to his will. Leave. Derek's smile hardened. I'm here to see my wife. Ex-wife, Claire said, her voice shaking. I'm not your wife anymore. That's just paperwork, Claire. Derek took a step closer. You and I both know you're mine. Kang moved. He didn't rush, didn't shout. He just stepped between them, his body a wall. She told you to leave, Kang said. I'm telling you to leave. This is the last time I'll say it politely. Derek stared at him. Then he laughed again, louder this time. You think you scare me? I'm a cop. I know my rights. I can be here. You were a cop, Kang corrected. You were fired for domestic violence and filed a false report to cover it up. You have a restraining order against you, and you violated it the moment you crossed into this state. Derek's face went pale. How do you? I know everything about you, Derek Hale. I know you have 3 DUIs. I know you owe $40,000 in gambling debts. I know you hit your last girlfriend so hard she lost a tooth. Kang's voice was still calm, still quiet, but every word landed like a hammer. And I know that if you don't walk out of this diner right now, you're not walking anywhere ever again. The room was silent. Even the hum of the freezer seemed to stop. Derek's hand moved toward his jacket. Kang's hand moved faster. Before Derek could pull whatever he was reaching for, Kang had him by the wrist, twisting it at an angle that made Derek gasp. Don't, Kang said. Derek tried to pull away. Kang didn't let go. He just applied more pressure, and Derek dropped to his knees, his face twisted in pain. You're going to leave, Kang said. You're going to drive back to Chicago. You're going to forget Claire exists. And if you ever come near her again, I will find you. I will break every bone in your hands so you can't hold a gun. I will make sure every cop in this state knows what you did. And then I will put you somewhere no one will ever find you. He leaned down, his voice dropping to a whisper. Do you understand me? Derek nodded, his face red, his breath coming in short gasps. Kang released him. Derek stumbled to his feet, cradling his wrist. For a moment, he looked like he might say something, might try to save face. But then he looked at Kang's eyes, cold, black, utterly devoid of mercy, and he turned and ran. The door slammed behind him. The bell above it jingled cheerfully. Kang turned to Claire. "Are you okay?" She was shaking, not from fear, from adrenaline, from relief, from something she couldn't name. "I'm okay," she said. "He won't come back." "How do you know?" "Because men like him only fight battles they know they can win, and he knows he can't win against me." She believed him. God help her, she believed him. "Who are you?" she asked again. This time, he answered. "Someone who doesn't let innocent people get hurt." "That's not an answer. It's the only one you need." He reached into his jacket and pulled out a card. Plain white, no logo, just a phone number embossed in black. "If he contacts you again, call me. If anyone contacts you that you don't want to talk to, call me. If you're afraid, call me." She took the card. Her hands were still shaking. "Why are you doing this?" she asked. "Because you deserved someone to ask who hurt you, and you deserved someone to do something about it." He walked past her toward the door. She watched him go, her mind racing. "Wait," she called. He stopped, turned. "What happens now?" she asked. He looked at her for a long moment. "Now you live your life, without fear, without looking over your shoulder, and if anyone tries to take that from you, you call me and I'll handle it." Just like that. Just like that. "I don't understand." "You don't have to." He opened the door. "But you're safe now, Claire, that's all that matters." And then he was gone. She stood in the empty diner, holding the card, her heart pounding. Maggie shuffled out from the back, squinting. "Who is that fella?" she asked. Claire looked at the card, at the number, at the door where Kang Ji-hoon had just walked out. "I don't know," she said. But that was a lie. She knew exactly who he was. He was the most dangerous man she'd ever met. And he'd just made her the safest she'd ever been. The next week passed in a blur. Derek didn't call, didn't text, didn't show up at her apartment or the diner. It was like he'd vanished. Claire kept waiting for the other shoe to drop, but it never did. Kang came to the diner every Thursday, same as before. Same booth, same coffee, same pie. He never mentioned Derek, never asked if she was okay. He just sat there, watching the room, and she knew without asking that he was still protecting her. She started sleeping better, started taking the same route home, started parking in the same spot without checking the rearview mirror every 5 seconds. And slowly, carefully, she started to feel like herself again. One Thursday, she brought him his coffee and sat down across from him without being asked. "Thank you," she said. He looked at her. "For what?" "You know what?" He didn't deny it. He just nodded. "Can I ask you something?" she said. "You can ask." "What would you have done if he didn't leave?" Kang took a sip of his coffee. "You don't want to know." "Yes, I do." He set the cup down, looked at her, and for the first time, she saw something cold and final in his eyes. "I would have made sure he never hurt anyone again," he said. She believed him. "Does that scare you?" he asked. She thought about it, really thought about it. "No," she said. "It should, but it doesn't." "Why not?" "Because you didn't do it for you. You did it for me." He didn't respond, just watched her. "Who are you really?" she asked. "Someone who fixes problems." "That's not an answer." "It's the only one I can give you." She nodded. She understood. Some questions didn't have answers. Some people didn't fit into boxes. "Will you keep coming here?" she asked. "Do you want me to?" "Yes." "Then I will." She smiled. It was small, fragile, but it was real. "Good," she said. And for the first time in 2 years, she felt like she could breathe. 2 months later, Claire's phone rang. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer, but something made her pick up. "Hello." Silence, then breathing. "Derek?" she asked, her heart pounding. "No," the voice was unfamiliar, male, cold. This is Detective Ramirez, Chicago PD. I'm calling about Derek Hale. Her blood ran cold. What about him? He's dead. Car accident. Drove off a bridge outside Chicago 3 nights ago. We found his phone in the wreckage. Your number was the last one he called. She didn't know what to say. I haven't talked to him in months. We know. We're just notifying anyone who might have been in contact with him. I'm sorry for your loss. I'm not, she said, and she hung up. Her hands were shaking. She stared at the phone, tried to process it. Derek was dead. Derek was gone. She should have felt relieved. She should have felt free. But all she felt was numb. She called the number on the card. Kang answered on the first ring. It's Claire, she said. I know. Derek's dead. Silence. Did you, she stopped, couldn't finish the question. Car accident, Kang said. Happens all the time, especially to people who drink and drive. He wasn't drinking. He was, Kang said. The toxicology report will confirm it. She closed her eyes. You did this. I told you I'd handle it. You killed him. I protected you. His voice was calm, steady, like he was talking about the weather. He wasn't going to stop, Claire, you know that. He would have come back, and next time I might not have been there. You should have let the police. The police don't protect people like you. They take reports, they file paperwork, they tell you to be careful, and then they show up after you're already dead. He paused. I don't work that way. She wanted to be angry. She wanted to scream at him, but she couldn't. Because he was right. I didn't ask you to kill him, she said. No, you asked me to make him stop, and I did. That's not the same thing. Isn't it? She didn't answer. Are you afraid of me now? He asked. She thought about it, really thought about it. No, she said finally. I should be, but I'm not. Good. There was something in his voice, something almost soft. You don't ever have to be afraid again. What if I want to be? Then I'll give you a reason, but not today. She laughed. It was a broken, jagged sound. You're insane. Maybe, he paused, but you're alive and you're safe, and that's all that matters. She wiped her eyes. What happens now? Now you live your life, without fear, without him, and if you ever need me, you call. Will you still come to the diner? Do you want me to? Yes. Then I will. She smiled. It was small, fragile, but it was real. Thank you, she said. You don't have to thank me. I know, but I want to. He was quiet for a long moment. You're welcome, Claire. And then he hung up. She stood in her apartment, holding the phone, her heart pounding. Derek was dead. Kang had killed him, and she wasn't afraid. She should have been, she knew that, but she wasn't. Because for the first time in her life, she knew what it felt like to be protected. Really protected. Not by laws or restraining orders or empty promises. By someone who would burn the world down to keep her safe. And that was worth everything. 3 months later, Claire was closing the diner when Kang walked in. He didn't sit in his usual booth. He walked straight to the counter, where she was counting the register. We need to talk, he said. She looked up. About what? About the fact that you've been getting followed. Her heart stopped. What? Black sedan, tinted windows. It's been parked outside your apartment for the past week. Different car, but same pattern as before. Derek's dead, she said. Who? His brother. Kang's voice was cold. Michael Hale. He thinks you had something to do with Derek's death. He wants revenge. Oh God, she gripped the counter. What do I do? You don't do anything. I handle it. Like you handled Derek. He didn't flinch, if necessary. No, she shook her head. No, I can't let you. You don't have a choice. He leaned forward. Michael Hale is more dangerous than his brother. He's smarter, more patient, and he won't stop until he gets what he wants. Then I'll go to the police. And tell them what? That you're being followed by a man who hasn't done anything yet. They'll take a report and tell you to be careful, and then Michael will come for you anyway. He paused. Or you can let me handle it, and he'll disappear just like Derek. She stared at him. You're asking me to let you kill someone. I'm not asking. I'm telling you what's going to happen. His eyes didn't waver. You're under my protection, Claire. That means I don't let anyone hurt you, ever. Even if it means killing them. Especially if it means killing them. She wanted to argue, wanted to tell him he was wrong, but she couldn't. Because deep down, she knew he was right. When? She asked. Tonight. And then? And then you're free. He reached across the counter, his hand covering hers. I promise. She looked at him, at his calm, steady gaze, at the quiet certainty in his voice. Okay, she said. He nodded. Go home, lock your doors, don't answer the phone. I'll call you when it's done. She wanted to ask what he was going to do, wanted to know how he was going to make Michael disappear, but she didn't. Because she didn't want to know. She just wanted it to be over. The call came at 3 a.m. Claire's phone buzzed on the nightstand, and she grabbed it with shaking hands. It's done, Kang said. She exhaled. Is he? He's gone. He won't bother you again. How do you know? Because I made sure. His voice was calm, final. You're safe now, Claire, for real this time. She closed her eyes. Thank you. You don't have to thank me. I know, but I do anyway. He was quiet for a moment. Get some sleep. I'll see you at the diner tomorrow. Okay. She hung up and lay back down, her heart still pounding. Michael Hale was dead. Kang had killed him, and she was safe. She should have felt guilty. She should have felt horrified. But all she felt was relief. The next morning, she went to the diner like nothing had happened. Maggie was at the counter. Louis was in the back, and Kang was sitting in his usual booth, drinking coffee. She brought him his pie and sat down across from him. Are you okay? He asked. I don't know, she said honestly. I should be, but I don't know if I am. That's normal. Is it? You're processing. Give it time. She nodded. Can I ask you something? You can ask. Do you ever regret it, the things you do? He looked at her for a long moment. No. Why not? Because I only do what's necessary, and I sleep fine at night knowing that the people I've hurt deserved it. Even if it makes you a monster. I'd rather be a monster who protects you than a saint who lets you die. She stared at him. You really believe that? I do. She took a breath, let it out slowly. Then I guess I'm okay with it too. He smiled. It was small, almost invisible, but it was there. Good, he said. And for the first time, she realized something. She wasn't afraid anymore. Not of Derek, not of Michael, not of anyone. Because the most dangerous man in the world had decided she was worth protecting. And that made her untouchable. 6 months later, Claire was still working at the diner, but things were different now. She smiled more, laughed more, slept through the night without checking the locks. Kang still came every Thursday, same booth, same coffee, same pie. But now, when she brought him his order, she sat down without being asked. And they talked, about nothing, about everything. He told her stories about his life, not the dark parts, just the parts that made him human, and she told him about hers, about her dreams, her fears, her hopes for the future. And slowly, carefully, something shifted between them. It wasn't love, not yet, but it was something close. One Thursday, he asked her a question. Do you ever think about leaving? She looked at him. The diner. This town, this life. Sometimes, but I don't know where I'd go. You could go anywhere. You're free now. I know, she paused, but I don't want to go anywhere. I want to stay here. Why? She looked at him, really looked at him. Because you're here. He didn't respond, just watched her. Is that okay? She asked. It's more than okay. She smiled, and for the first time in her life, she felt like she was exactly where she was supposed to be. But freedom never lasts. 2 weeks later, a man walked into the diner. He was young, nervous. He looked at Claire and then at Kang. Are you Kang Ji-hoon? He asked. Kang didn't move. Who's asking? My name's Danny. Danny Cho, I need your help. Kang didn't answer, just waited. There's a man. He's been threatening my sister. She's 18. He's her ex-boyfriend. He won't leave her alone. The police won't do anything. And I don't know what else to do. Kang looked at Claire. She looked back. And without saying a word, they both understood. This was what he did. This was who he was. And she was okay with it. Kang stood. Tell me everything. Danny did. And by the time he was done, Kang had already made his decision. He looked at Claire. I'll be gone for a few days. I know. Will you be okay? I will. He nodded, and then he walked out of the diner with Danny Cho, leaving Claire alone with her coffee and her thoughts. She watched him go, and she knew without a doubt that he'd come back. Because that's what he did. He protected people. And he always finished what he started. 3 days later, Kang walked back into the diner. He looked tired, but he was smiling. Is it done? Claire asked. It's done. Is she safe? She's safe. Claire nodded. Good. He sat down in his booth. She brought him his coffee, and they sat there in silence, watching the world go by. And for the first time, Claire realized something. She wasn't just safe. She was home. And the most dangerous man in the world was the reason why. 1 year later, Claire stood behind the counter of the diner, watching the sun set through the front windows. The place was empty except for one customer. Kang Ji-hoon, sitting in his booth, drinking his coffee. She walked over and sat down across from him. Do you ever regret it? She asked. Regret what? Buying this place, protecting me, all of it. He looked at her. Never. Why? Because you deserved it. He paused. And because I wanted to. She smiled. I'm glad you did. Me too. She reached across the table, took his hand. And in that moment, she knew. She was the safest she'd ever been. Because the most dangerous man in the world had chosen her. And nothing would ever change that.